Christine Shannon, A Life Interrupted. Christine Shannon was born on July 5, 1886, in Leeds County, Ontario, Canada, the youngest child of John Shannon and Caroline Amelia Jones. Her parents were already in their mid-50s when she was born, and she entered a large family that included 7 brothers and 3 sisters. Growing up in rural Ontario, Christine likely spent her childhood helping around the family home and attending the local school at Rose Corners. A school photograph from 1896 captures her at about 10 years of age, a young girl with her future still ahead of her. For the first 13 years of her life, Christine's story appears much like that of many other children in Leeds County. Then, in the autumn of 1899, everything changed. The crisis of 1899. On November 30th, 1899, 13-year-old Christine was admitted to the Brockville Asylum for the insane. The admission records provide a glimpse into what her family and physicians believed was happening. According to the certificates completed by 2 physicians, Christine had experienced a sudden change in behavior over the previous weeks. The records state that she refused food, behaved violently, threw objects around the house, and expressed beliefs that concerned those around her. Physicians concluded that she was suffering from what they called insanity and recommended her confinement in the asylum. Today, it is impossible to know with certainty what Christine was actually experiencing. Modern medicine recognizes many conditions that were poorly understood or misdiagnosed in the 19th century. The terminology used in the records reflects the era's attitudes and medical practices, rather than a diagnosis that would necessarily be accepted today. What is clear is that Christine was a frightened 13-year-old girl whose life took a dramatically different path from that moment forward. Life within the institution. The records show that Christine remained at the Brockville Institution after her admission. In May 1900, after approximately 6 months, she was released on probation to her family's care. Hospital officials expressed hope that her condition had improved and requested periodic reports from those caring for her. Unfortunately, later census records suggest that Christine eventually returned to institutional care. In the 1901 census, she was recorded as a patient in Brockville. In 1911, she was listed as an inmate of the institution, and records indicate she remained there for decades. The 1921 and 1931 records continue to place her at what had become the Ontario Hospital in Brockville. While Christine lived within the walls of the institution, life outside continued. She experienced the loss of family members one after another. Her mother, Caroline, died in 1901 when Christine was only 14. Her father, John, died in 1907. Over the following decades, several brothers and sisters also passed away. One can only wonder how much contact Christine maintained with her family and how these losses affected her. A different kind of life. Unlike many of her siblings, Christine never married and had no known children. Much of her adult life was spent under the care of the institution in Brockville. Records that survive tell us where she was, but they reveal very little about her daily experiences, friendships, interests, or hopes. As genealogists, we are often reminded that official records capture only fragments of a person's life. Christine's story also reminds us that family history is not always comfortable. Some ancestors lived through hardships that later generations rarely discussed. Mental illness, institutionalization, and social stigma often led families to remain silent about these experiences. Yet these stories deserve to be told, not because they are sensational, but because they are part of the human experience. Remembering Christine. Christine Shannon died in 1952 at the age of 66. She left no descendants to tell her story, but the records she left behind allow us to remember her today. She was more than a patient number in an asylum register. She was a daughter, a sister, a schoolgirl from Rose Corners, and a member of the Shannon family. More than a century later, we can look beyond the labels attached to her by 19th century institutions and remember the person at the center of the story. By preserving and sharing her history, we ensure that Christine's life, however difficult and however incomplete the record may be, is not forgotten.
It was important for me to tell the story of my great-aunt, Christina Shannon. She had no descendants, and so it was up to me, I felt, that to tell her story so that she would be remembered. Sometimes in our family history, we have difficult stories that we come across, and we need to find ways to tell those stories as well as the happy ones. So I hope you enjoyed this video. My name's Ellen Thompson-Jennings. I'm the Family History Hound, and if you like what you see, please ring the bell so that you can be notified of future videos as they are launched. Happy hunting!